colon cancer, pure and simple, is an abnormal growth of cells from the inside lining of the colon. They first start to invade through the bowel wall. They can learn to sow seeds, often to the lymph nodes right next door. Pure and simple, it's abnormal cell growth. Most people blame parents, maybe something they ate, maybe too much fun in college. The reality is, it's probably none of those things. It's probably chance. We are mutating all the time, and sometimes just by chance, the wrong gene gets mutated. We can't fix it. Abnormalities persist. They learn to grow, they learn to spread, and we have colon cancer. It's not something you did, quit kicking yourself.
I am frequently the first person that most of my patients sit down and talk with about colon cancer. That itself is a shock to most patients, to sit down and talk about a disease they've never confronted before. That shock is natural and understandable, but it's important to get over that shock in order to move into the knowledge phase. So once you actually can start understanding the disease, you can start addressing it. I think there are 5 things that are important in order to determine your success rate for beating this cancer. And those 5 are faith, family, food or nutritional status, the responsiveness of their individual tumor to surgery, chemotherapy, and/or radiation, and your attitude. Addressing those 5 things, 4 of which are under your control, will help you beat this tumor.
One thing that we all need to remember is that your doctor takes it personally when you as a patient are diagnosed with colon cancer, and as a team, we all want to work toward curing this disease and ridding you of the disease. This is something that once we get started, we all work together to move toward our ultimate goal, which is a complete cure, and every single case is curable.
My name is Cindy, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer at the age of 46 after a regular annual checkup by my gynecologist. It was a big shocker, and I really didn't believe what he had to say, but we knew the news wasn't good. A few days later, after some more tests, I was told that I had stage 3 colorectal cancer. As a single mom of 4 kids, I wondered what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to fight it. And the 4 children, I believe, were quite the reminder to get up every morning and have at it once again.
My name is Rachel Yingling, and I was diagnosed at age 26 with stage 3 colon cancer. I'm currently in remission from cancer after surgery, a colon resection, and 6 months of chemotherapy. I had had abdominal pain for about 6 weeks, and since I was so young and not one to typically go to the doctor, I just assumed it was gas pain or some sort of stomach bug and ignored it for a long time. I finally got sick enough to go to the emergency room, and they found a tumor in my large bowel and admitted me from there.
I've been in remission for 3.5 years now. I'm screened every year and see my doctor frequently just to keep things under control. I'm not on any medications, and I'm here to just live and to encourage others to do the same, no matter what their diagnosis.
I'll admit that when I was first diagnosed with colon cancer, I didn't know the first thing about the colon or my intestines. I didn't know what it meant. So the first thing I did was go to the internet. I Googled colon cancer to find out what this meant, what sort of diagnosis I was facing, and what the treatment options would be. I stayed away from the statistics, because I'm not a statistic, you are not a statistic. We are patients, and we are survivors. Now, if you do choose to look at those numbers, keep in mind that those are averages, and not everybody is the same. Every individual is different, and averages, statistics rely on a certain set of circumstances. So things like age, health, attitude even are different in every patient. The internet can be a fantastic resource. There's so much information out there. And even though every person is different, every situation and experience with cancer is different, it gives you a good idea of what you might need to be prepared for. It also arms you with the information and the questions that I think are essential to becoming your own advocate.
As a mother of 4, I was concerned, what does this mean for my children? We started looking back at the family history. We saw there were more and more family members. This prompted the doctors to do genetic testing and found that I carried a gene for something called Lynch syndrome. My children can now be tested for this gene, which gives them an edge on the whole cancer game. If testing positive for the gene, they can be monitored at a much earlier age than I was to keep any kind of cancer that would be relative to the Lynch syndrome at bay, and found much earlier so they could be treated much earlier.